Hello, it is another warm one, and this room is very warm because this house does not take kindly to climate control. So it's not blazing sunshine outside. I was outside recording and then the wind picked up and then the wind stopped when I came in, and I'm not taking everything out there again. I'm not giving it the satisfaction. So this week is just weaving. I do have the cross stitch on the agenda. I haven't forgotten the cross stitch. I have to admit to you though, and although I try and be positive about pretty much everything that I do, not everything, like some things I'm a little bit honest about, but broadly speaking I sort of go, hey, I'm doing a cross stitch and it's great fun. The cross stitch part of that cross stitch, I'm going to put up a photo here so you know what I'm talking about if you're new to the channel, or if it's just been so long since I talked about it you can't remember. The cross stitch part was brilliant, had a wonderful time. I am really not enjoying the back stitch, and so it has been a bit of an effort to make myself do it, to know that I'm going to sit down for an hour or whatever and have not a very pleasant time with the back stitch. It makes it hard for me to sort of sit down and do it. I made that sound like it was way more of a tragedy than it was. I'm just having a bit of a difficulty getting into the back stitch. It's maybe 2/3 done, so I'm like so close to just finishing it. Probably not next week. At some point during the year I will hold it up and we'll all have a little celebration. And then I will do a cross stitch that has got some slightly less artistic back stitch, because the back stitch on this one is to shape a lot of things. So you've got to shape the birds, shape the leaves. So I can see why it's fiddly, but it is very fiddly, and it's often very long stitches. So figuring out where you're ending the stitch that you just started is it's a bit much for me. I'm not having a nice time. It's going to be worth it. It's a great design and I love the colours in it. It's going to be worth it. I just have to sit down and do it. In the meantime, I've got weaving. So this one has had its wet finish, and I'll show you that side. So this is the side that had the 3 little groups of floats that you can't really see anymore. You can see them if the light catches them. So that little bar there, for example, is one of the groups of 3. And then there's these gaps above and below where those floats were. So the floats are still there. They've just pulled in a little bit. The yarn has shrunk and bloomed, which it can do. This did. So blooming is just when the yarn expands to fill the gaps. Shrinking is when it shrinks. I'm helpful. And that has made those floats on that side a little bit less obvious. They're still there, the texture's still there. But this wasn't the side that was going to be the showpiece side. It was this side, which is the showpiece side. This is the long floats, the long vertical floats, to show off the colours of the warp thread, to make sure that they got a little moment to shine. And that has worked really well, and I'm pleased with how this has come out. And I'm just going to show you very slowly. I'm going to get that slightly in better light. The light in here is so bad. I say every time that I need to fix my lighting situation. Oh, an end. I'm prepared. I'm well prepared. Pretend you didn't see that, and we'll carry on. Hide my shame. So that is finished. I don't know if I'm going to cut the fluffs off the fringe, but look how fun this fringe is with those colours twisting together. Really love that. So this yarn is, there's 2 yarns in here, 2 different yarns. The warp, which has given us this fun fringe, is from Hawthorne Cottage Yarns. I will put a link in the description. The weft is Bendigo Woollen Mills Rustic Tweed. I did look up what colour blue it is. I think it's river washed. It might be river washed, or it might be something else. It's something. I'll put a link in the description to the page and you can have a look at all the available colours. But that's done and I'm really pleased with it. Now last time I had on the loom, that's done and I'm really pleased with it. Moving on, moving on swiftly. I'm not in a rush, I've got all the time in the world. Last time on the loom I had Bendigo Woollen Mills Elixir, which is recycled natural fibres in a chunky yarn. And then I didn't touch that for about 2 weeks because it has been, about a week and a half. It's just been hot. I don't know if I've really underlined the fact that it's been hot. But then it was, once I did sit down and do it, it was a quick weave. So this is how that's come out, because this has also been wet finished, because we've had some warm days and I knew it would dry. So that has come out pretty well. Now the yarn before the wet finishing, when it's on the ball and when it was just off the loom, and probably when it was on the loom if I'd been paying attention, feels a little stiff. But once it's had its wet finish, it's nice and soft. It's a little bit snuggly. So the yarn content of this, they only say natural fibres. They don't specify. It's recycled natural fibres. So I knew there was cotton in here, so I gave it a good hot wash. I always give cotton the hottest wash I can. If it's pure cotton. If it's a cotton blend with wool, then I wash for the wool. That's the trick. of mixing fibres in weaving. If you're mixing your fibres, whether you're using a cotton and wool blend or if you're using cotton for the wool for the weft, whatever, silk, whatever, you wash for the most delicate fibre. So if it's a cotton and wool blend, you wash for the wool. This one I washed for cotton and then realised it does have wool in it, and I can tell it's got wool in it because it smells like wet wool when it's wet. This is my scientific discovery portion of Work in Progress Wednesday. The other thing that this has done, if I can find an example, there's some really good examples. It's done, so there's some. There's one. Really, really lovely tracking on that. I love a bit of tracking. So it's some nice diagonals in the tracking, which as I said, I love. So that is done. It's nice and floppy. It's got a bit of floop, technical term, which I'm trying to get to catch on in the weaving community. It's not going to catch on. It's not going to catch on. I have no influence at all. But pleased with that, nice and squishy. Perfect for summer, a nice squishy scarf. So on the little loom, I still haven't cleared off the big table for the big loom. I do have a project that I want to do on the big loom. It's the clearing off of the table. So at the moment I have 0 storage. The amount of stuff that has come into the house as a result of weaving, as a result of crochet, as a result of all the other little crafty bits that I do. And I think most crafters will appreciate what I'm saying here. It just accumulates while you're not really looking. And so I'm at a point where instead of saying, here are my weaving shuttles, they go here in this spot. It's, here are my weaving shuttles. They live on the table with the rest of the everything else. So I am going to get organised. I'll go to Mitre 10 or something and get a box. And that will solve all my problems. In the meantime, I have warped up the little loom. And I've warped it up in sock yarn because I don't know who I am anymore. I don't usually work with sock yarn because it is so fine. I certainly don't crochet with it. I cannot be dealing with yarn that fine on a crochet hook. But here's how it's looking. So this is a stash bust. The yarn that I'm using for the weft and also some of the warp is by Happy Sheep, and it was a Hobbii sock yarn mystery bag, possibly exclusive because the label did specifically say mystery bag sock yarn from Happy Sheep, which did come from Hobbii. The bone colour here is cotton, also from Hobbii. I don't know that they have a name for their cotton range. I think they just call it cotton, which is fair. And that's one of their thinner cottons. And this was not the plan for warping up. This was not how it was going to warp up. So this part is the plan, this side here, this is the plan. And then I was going to have all of this to be the bone colour and then match this stripe, this sort of middling stripe here, balanced on the other side. What I hadn't counted on was running out of the cotton. And I ran out of the cotton because I didn't do any maths, because why would I start now? I do sometimes do maths. I do sometimes do myths. I don't do meth. I do sometimes myth. Sometimes I also do maths. We're going to slow down and see if I can get to the end of a sentence without the wheels falling off. Part of the reason why I didn't do maths in this particular instance is I'm lazy, and also I thought I had 2 balls of that cotton, so I thought if I run out it's going to be fine. And then I went to grab what I thought was the other ball of that cotton, and it's a different colour. It's not like really obviously a different colour, but it is a different enough colour that if I put it in the warp, people would say, that's a different colour, and I'd have to say, yeah, no, you're right. So instead, I just filled out the rest with the sock yarn, and I will have enough to complete the weave. So it's doing that sock yarn thing where it's sort of little patterny bits, colour change, colour gradients. There's some nice orange in here that I think I've wound on already, which is annoying because I don't usually get this far through. I think I've wound this on a few times actually. It's weaving up a lot more quickly than I was expecting it to. Sock yarn looks great woven. I mean, I really like how that looks. It's just so thin, and I'm looking at this going, this is going to be great, but I'm going to have to do the fringe on this, and I'm going to be very mad at myself. It'll be fine. It'll be great. So yeah, I really like the colours in this, and it is getting things out of my stash, which is the goal this year, like my stated goal. And I have only bought the 2 yarns so far, and I might need 1 more yarn to go with the 2 yarns that I bought. But other than that, I'm very firm. That is all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for bearing with me. I am feeling a little bit melty, so I'm going to have a nice glass of water. You take care of yourself. Have a lovely rest of your week, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.